Welcome to ETT, Everyday Tech Things. I am Shango, and on this channel, I talk about technology, from low-tech to high-tech. Today, we're talking about Xbox versus PSP, and which one I'll be getting. So let's basically jump into it. Alright, so everybody know the console war has been going on between Xbox and PSP. Well, Sony and Microsoft for a minute now. So you know, Microsoft jumped into the console game after Sony was dominating. So you know, the console game or the console war started with kind of this is kind of like an history. So you have like Atari, you have Sega Genesis, you have Nintendo 64. You have, you know what I mean, all of these consoles, Nintendo, Sony for PS5 or PlayStation, and then you have Xbox, which is Microsoft. I don't remember what the company where Nintendo name right now, but those are the consoles that are still living. You used to have Sega and you used to have Atari one long time. So the console war in 2020 is really between Microsoft, which is Xbox, and Sony, which is PSP or PlayStation. So it's Xbox versus PlayStation. So now the next generation consoles were released, one November 10th, one November 12th, and we kind of get a sense of what the next generation consoles are supposed to be. And as you know, it's basically the Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S. I am shortening the name, so I'm calling it Xbox X and Xbox S, or Xbox SX and Xbox SS. Maybe that's even a little bit too much for me. Now the PlayStation, I'll be calling it PlayStation 5D and PlayStation 5S. So the D stand for the digital version and the S stand for the standard version. I'm trying to simplify the names so I don't have to be saying PlayStation digital version, PlayStation or whatever the case may be. I'm just trying to simplify the name. I'm gonna give you a sneak peek of in my studio. So this is a different angle, a different view where you're seeing like a top-down view of the setup. You know what I mean? I'm using my keyboard and my mouse to control it. My triple monitor setup with my laptop to that side, and I have a television here that I'm using to look on stuff that I want to talk about or read while I'm doing the production. So for me, when the consoles kind of just were talking about and which console you're gonna get in, I was hell-bent on that I'm getting the Xbox SS, which is the Xbox Series S. So let me bring up some graph and stuff like that to show you the different consoles them and the pricing and stuff like that. So at first, I was very convinced, not only by price, but even form factor and stuff like that. So the Xbox Series S, it's very small and it seemed like it would work better in my space. It was only $300 versus the PS5D, which is $400. So at this point, whenever I have the information about the inside of it, I think MKHB, Dave 2D, they basically had the box and had the, you know, like a box that they couldn't show any of the inside, and they were explaining this is what it will look like and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, I love how the Xbox Series X looks, because for me, I would only be getting the digital version. I've never owned a Blu-ray disc. I don't even know what a Blu-ray disc look like. I'm hoping that it looks like any other disc. But I believe that in a couple of years from now, CDs and stuff like that won't make no sense. So if you're buying a console for the future, it only makes sense you go with digital. Now, as I say, I was looking at the price, $100 difference. I'm like, oh, I'm going to save $100. I'm looking at the Xbox Series S or Xbox SS, and I'm like, I like the form factor and everything. The PS5D seems so humongous, and it is. It's a big console, and I'm like, it might not work in my space. My space, as you see, it's not a big space, a small space, and the space between the TV and the table is not that big either. So I'm like, I'll be getting the Series X. However, when the specs started to drop, so I'm gonna put the specs on the screen. I'm just gonna read through the specs of the series. I'm gonna read through the specs of the Xbox console to kind of give you what the Xbox offer. You can see the prices. So it start with the prices. The prices, one is $500, one is $300. This $299. Just call it $300, but I understand the $299 thing in America standard. Now when you look upon the processor, the two of them have a similar processor. One is 3.8 gigahertz and one is 3.6. That's not so bad. In terms of the GPU, very similar GPU. Not so very similar still. One is 52 CU at 1.825 gigahertz. I'm not so familiar what that means. And then the next one is 20 CU 1.5 gigahertz. That information is not 100% so relevant to me because I don't technically understand what kind of GPU that is. It's just some information I'm looking at. Now the GPU power, one is 12 teraflop, which is the X, and one is 4 teraflop. Now that big difference in terms of the teraflop, them, I don't even know why them doing that. That's a big difference. Now in terms of RAM, one is 16 gigabytes and one is 10 gigabytes. Again, it's DDR6, so it shouldn't be that bad, but still there's a big difference. So you can see that, you can see where the pricing is. Them take out basically 6 to 8 teraflops and reduce the price by $200. Them take out 6 giga memory, reduce the price. The memory bandwidth 10 and 8, again it's a reduction. The storage, however, I believe that Xbox shouldn't have done this on the digital side. The digital side should have had the same amount of storage. So what I'm seeing right here is 1 terabyte storage in the standard version, which is the Series X, and then 512 gigabyte in the Series SS, which is the Series S, the digital version. Now that is whack as far as I see it, because the digital version is the one where should have the more storage, because you're gonna be packing games on it. However, they have expandable storage, so you might have to buy an expandable storage. I'm seeing 1 terabyte proprietary expandable storage. I'm assuming that you can add non-proprietary expandable storage to the Xbox. I'm hoping so. Would only make sense. Now the throughput, 2.4 gigabytes. That's alright. I'm not so concerned with it. As I know, digital versus non-digital, which is standard. The standard one, you have Blu-ray. As I say, I'm not interested in Blu-ray because Blu-ray doesn't speak to me. I don't have any Blu-ray. This part now, the performance target. This is the next thing where I don't know why Xbox, but I understand based on the size of the console and what it can push, I get it. Now, the X now is 4K, 120 frames, and 8K, 60 frames. That sounds amazing. The S, on the other hand, is 1440p at 120 frames per second. Now the 1440p, that is less than 4K. So if you have a 4K TV, you're not necessarily getting 4K. I'm sure it will upscale it, but you're not necessarily getting 4K. I don't know what that means as it relates to the details on the games. Now let's jump over to the PS5. Now this is the specs for the PS5. Look at that. So the digital version on the PS5, which is, as I say, I'm going to simplify it, the PS5D versus the PS5S. The PS5D and the PS5S, the only difference in the PS5D versus the PS5S is the Blu-ray drive. The only difference, listen again, the only difference is the Blu-ray drive. Now, that is crazy. And imagine you're spending $100 less with the Xbox. So let me bring that on screen because I don't necessarily need to read out the teraflops and stuff like that to give you a sense. I want to compare and contrast between the Xbox and the PS5. So let me bring that on screen for you. Now this is a comparison for both digital version. as I say, I'm not interested in the standard version because I'm not interested in Blu-ray. I'm more concerned with the digital version. This is the one that I'll be buying. Or these are the one that I'm interested in when it comes to my purchase decision. Now look at the specs difference. Now the two devices are 8-core. The Xbox seems to have a little bit more in terms of 3.6 gigahertz and the PS5 is 3.5 gigahertz. Okay. Now look at the teraflop. And I would assume that teraflop means the processing power of the game. The Xbox Series S is 4 teraflops, while the PS5 D, or digital edition, is 10 teraflops. So we have a 6 teraflops difference. And we're looking at we jump into the price right away. $100 difference, 6 teraflop difference. Huh? Now look at the RAM. 10 RAM, 10 gigabytes versus 16 gigabytes. So you have 6 more gigabytes in the PS5 for the $100 difference. Now look at the storage. I don't understand why Xbox would have done this. It only makes sense and put 1 terabyte in their game. Now while it says on this 825 gigabytes, what is actually in the PS5 is a 1 terabyte SSD, but they minus what the game operating system would take up and give you the storage, basically the what you can store on the PS5. They give you the storage space and not the terabyte the information for what the size inside of the console is. On the other hand, the Xbox, I'm not 100% sure if that is actually the storage space or the information about what the size of the SSD drive inside of the Xbox is. I'm not 100% sure. So look at that difference. You're technically getting 12 gigabytes in storage difference for $100. Now go online, look into Amazon and stuff like that, and look what it costs to buy a 5 terabyte SSD right now and see if it costs more than $100 or it's less. Now in terms of resolution, you talk about 1440p versus 4K and up to 8K. Hands down, the PS5 wins there. Frame rates, they are the same. Now this is where the PS5 is miles apart from the Xbox, the controllers. So now let's kind of look at the controllers to kind of give them a side by side. So these are the controllers. So you have the Xbox. You have the Xbox controller to the left of me, which might be the right of you, I'm not sure. And then you have the PS5 controller. So that Xbox controller is a small upgrade from the controller that was on the previous Xbox, which is the Xbox One, while the PS5 controller is a completely new design, completely new optics, a completely new controller, the DualSense controller, which has capabilities that no other controller that exists before this controller has. This is where the game changer is as it relates to the consoles in the controller. So this is where PS5 won me over. And even though the PS5 has much more power and more teraflop, more memory, more space in your SSD, the controller is where it wins me over. So the PS5 controller is at another level. When I say another level, I mean another level with the DualSense, the optic feedback in the controller, being able to touch the controller, being able to touch the front of the controller to get that feedback. The triggers has, you know, what them call a responsive trigger. So based on what you're doing, you for instance, you're playing a gun game and you have a Magnum. The Magnum, pressing the trigger of a Magnum, which is a barrel gun, might be a harder press as opposed to pressing an automatic gun like a Glock 40 or any one of these guns. Pressing it might be, you know, so all in all that might be rapid fire, while the barrel gun, you might have, harder press. Just the possibilities that this controller gives is endless. Endless. So once the game developers start to implement this, the features of this controller in their game, it's gonna be crazy. Imagine they have been showcasing this game. As I say, I don't remember the game off the top of my head. But the game give you the best capability of the features, so to speak, for that controller. So you're walking on ice, it feel a little different. Optic feedback, you're walking on snow, it feel a little different. So they're giving you all the feedback. Watching MKHB review of the controller, he was talking about the playing the video game and playing MK NBA 2021, and he's saying that if the player is more tired, pressing like shooting and stuff like that is a little bit more difficult because the controller is giving you all that feedback. And I'm like, whoa, can you imagine playing card games and all these games and using this controller and getting that feedback as it relates to if you're sliding and just the imagination. And this is why I'm sold on buying the PS5, because this controller just gives you the capability of experiencing game at another level. At another level, as I say. It's a different level game experience you'll be getting using this controller. So, as I said, the PS5 controller, like this controller is the reason why I will be buying the PS5 coming next year. I know the PS5 is being sold right now. I don't live in America. I'm from Jamaica. Maybe if I live in America, I would have pre-ordered it and have it now to basically showcase it with this live. But as it is right now, I don't have the controller. I don't have the game. I'm just talking about it, but I know I'll be getting the game in the coming year. I am super excited about the PS5 and having it in hand and playing the games. I'm really excited about getting Miles Morales, the Spider-Man game, and just testing it out, playing it and having some fun. I'm not a big gamer per se. I've played video games. I usually play video games when I was much younger. I remember playing the Nintendo 64. I remember playing Super Nintendo and Nintendo. But after Nintendo 64, I kind of fall off in the game scene. I wasn't playing much video games. I played some computer games and stuff like that, but I wasn't playing a lot of video games. But now, I've designed this office space, and even though I use it a lot for work, I want to have some form of entertainment in it, and a video game is one of the way I'll be using to entertain myself while I'm in the office and not working. So I'm excited. I'm excited about, getting the PS5 and playing some video games. Playing some games on this nice 4K TV that I've put inside of my office for entertainment mostly. I use it to watch YouTube videos and stuff like that, and as I can see, I'm a content creator. I create content for a lot of different sources. I'm creating content for YouTube now, through this YouTube channel, and also for my Facebook channel, because I'll be creating these content for YouTube and Facebook. This is a live now on YouTube. I actually should have gone live on Facebook too simultaneously, but I never set it up. I was just testing out the live and giving you my take on the Xbox and PS5. And this is kind of the first video on the channel. I'm doing it live mainly because I've been setting up the studio and everything, and I'm thinking that, you need to be making the content. You need to be making the content. Why you're not making the content? Why you're not making the content? And I realized that I have this capability of doing live content at a certain level, and I actually can make my videos in a live way. I'll be making video otherwise, but certain videos I'll be making them live like this, so the content can be made and out to the audience as it finish, or out to the audience. They can watch it live while I'm making it. as it is currently, I don't think anybody is watching. I see it say concurrent viewer 1. I'm not sure if it's my phone or it's somebody else watching. If anybody else watching, maybe you can drop a comment or something like that, so I can see that persons are actually watching it right now. But for the persons who will be watching it afterwards, this is one of the way I'll be making content and sharing it with the community. As I say, I'm joining the content game. I'll be posting content on YouTube and Facebook. And, you know what I mean, I have a couple things coming. I have merch coming. I have, you know what I mean, the Amazon affiliate link coming. I'll be posting a lot of content. I have a lot of ideas. I have a couple shows in mind. So just look out for that. And thanks for watching. You can like or subscribe if you find the type of content that I'll be making, your content around tech, interesting. You can like and subscribe. And if you're on Facebook, you can follow me or follow my channel on Facebook. And again, thanks for watching. I am Shango, a creative from Jamaica. And again, welcome to ETT, Everyday Tech Things. Blessings and guidance. Yeah.